Okay, welcome back, guys. Today, as I said before, I was going to give you guys a really quick overview of Judaism that goes along with your readings, as well as the videos you've been watching in class, to kind of help you guys get prepared for your upcoming quiz. So basically, when we talk about Judaism, we really want to understand that it is the first of the major monotheistic religions in the world. Okay, it is the first of the major monotheistic religions. And if you guys didn't remember what we talked about before, monotheism is the belief in one God, whereas polytheism is the belief in many gods. So make sure you guys know the difference between that. I'm starting to expect to see those types of words coming up in your writings and stuff like that. Definitely need to know those definitions for the vocab sections of your quizzes. Huge thing to start knowing. Okay, so monotheism and Judaism, first major monotheistic religion, and they believed in one God for this particular religion. The religion was actually founded by a guy who has ties to all three of the major monotheistic religions that we're going to talk about, which would be Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And that guy is this gentleman right here, Abraham. Okay, he was a shepherd that lived in Ur and considered to be the world's first Jew, the founder of Judaism, the world's first monotheistic religion. So, like I said, he's going to be a character that's going to come up in several of these religions that we're going to talk about because of his importance to all of them, and the fact that he really is also believed to be the father of the monotheistic type of religion, because there was nothing like that before him. So therefore, he is the father of monotheism. Abraham was not the only major prophet in Judaism. Probably the most important was this guy right here, Moses, which we did a lot of talking about, a lot of discussion. We watched some videos about him. And Moses was considered to be the greatest prophet, leader, or teacher. He was described as the only person who ever knew God face to face and spoke to God directly in plain language, not through visions, dreams, other communications through angels, so on and so forth, as we talked about in class, in which basically God communicated with other prophets of other religions and such. So he is very important in that sense. Moses was chosen by God to lead the Hebrews out of slavery. And the story of Moses is central to the Jewish faith because of his leadership during the Exodus from Egypt, the founding of the nation of Israel, and his role in receiving the Ten Commandments, which we talked about in class, being the moral code of Judaism, as well as many of the other religions that we're going to be talking about here in the next couple weeks with Christianity and Islam playing a large role in those as well too. So he is very much important in all of the religions, but more so as it relates to Judaism, as him being pretty much the central prophet to Judaism. Okay, and one of their most major holidays, Passover, is celebrated about Moses and the actual physical exodus from Egypt when he was leading the Hebrews out of slavery into Egypt. And this goes directly back with why we watched the Rugrats video in class, to hopefully you guys get the basis of, this was the last stage of getting the Hebrews out of Egypt, and the fact that with the 10th plague that we talked about, which the oldest son in each household was taken if they did not believe in God. The Hebrews would put the lamb's blood across their door, and then the spirit would pass over their house, like I pointed out to you guys in class. So this is all very much an important holiday for the Jews, and we took some definite time to kind of talk about that in class, and I definitely would know this for sure for your quiz. Abraham, Moses, Passover, know what they are for your quiz. It's going to be huge parts of your quiz. The Ten Commandments, as I said before, was a set of moral codes given to Moses by God. Okay, it applies to all descendants of Abraham, so it applies to Christians, it applies to Muslims as well, because they are all considered to be descendants of Abraham as well too. So it's very much plays a very central role in all of these major religions as we know it today. Another thing you guys really need to know for the quiz: know what the Ten Commandments are. And their importance in all of these monotheistic religions. The Torah. This is the Jewish holy text, and basically the word Torah means to teach. It lists all the Jewish laws and tells one to live how to live one's life. And for those of you who are Christians, would know it as the Old Testament of the Bible. Okay, as we saw in the video with My Life, My Religion, that is on Canvas at this point in time, you guys would see that it is a handwritten document. They prefer that it not be touched because it is such a large expense as well as such a hard undertaking in order to get one of these things written. And so therefore, because there's a lot of kosher laws that go along with it, so on and so forth. But this is the holy text of Judaism. And like I said, it makes up the Old Testament of the Bible. So there's another one of those connections that we talk about as we look at our essential question in terms of the similarities between these religions, being the fact that the Torah is directly part of the Bible as you know it in terms of Christianity. So another big connection there, another thing to know in terms of the Torah being the holy text of Judaism. A synagogue is a Jewish house of worship, much like a church is for Christianity, and a mosque is for Islam. So very much similar in that sense. Another thing that you guys need to know in terms of vocab for your quiz on or coming up soon. A rabbi is a religious leader in Judaism, much like a priest in Christian religions. Both men and women can be a rabbi. In most branches of Judaism. So one of those things that you need to really kind of focus in on. The Star of David, symbol of the Jewish people, started using it during the Second World War because the Nazis used it to identify the Jews. But the Star of David was believed to be a symbol that David wore on his shield, and whenever he had this star on his shield, he was unbeatable in battle. So he kind of adopted it as his symbol, and now it has become adopted as the universal symbol of the Jews, much like what a cross would be to the Christians. People wear it around their necks, and on necklaces and such like that. It's a very important symbol to the people of Judaism. Some of the major holidays, we've already talked about Passover, in which it celebrates the Exodus from Egypt. Don't need to go in much more detail about that. Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. We saw the video with the Rugrats once again about that. Talks about the fact that they celebrated for 8 nights because they believed that they did not have enough oil in their menorah after this major battle with the Greeks. They only had enough for 1 day. But through a miracle, it lasted for 8 days in order for them to create and make more oil for their menorahs, for lighting their homes and such, or lighting their synagogue at night and such like that. So that is why Hanukkah is celebrated. Some of the high holy days, Rosh Hashanah, the celebration of the Jewish New Year, probably one of the more important holidays within the Jewish faith. And then Yom Kippur, a day of forgiveness, probably the most holy day of the year for the Jews. So these are pretty much the major holidays. For our quiz, we're really going to focus in on Passover and Hanukkah because that's what we did in class with it. But like I said, make sure you guys know the vocab. Make sure you guys know Moses and Abraham. And you guys should do pretty well with this quiz coming up. So make sure that you guys are prepared for that. And I will see you guys on the next video. If you guys have any questions, shoot me an email or bring your question to class.